right, I'm the rugby guy. And of course, everybody asks me, so life, love, mother, rugby. How now? So I said, okay, I'll tell you a rugby story. You connect the dots. Maybe all of this will add up. I don't know. But I had the privilege of coaching the Kenya Sevens team. I'm sure all of you know the Kenya Sevens team. Our heroes. This was way back in 96, 97, just when Safari Sevens was starting. I coached the 96, the first Safari Sevens, and we didn't do too well. We lost, which sent me into a slump. 3 months down the road, I was still sitting there going, how did we lose that game? I was so sure I'd picked the best players, definitely. And I was at the club at my coach's corner, which is just near the bar there, and really thinking about this, how are we going to do this? 97, we've got to do it again. And a mother approached me. And, immediately you see a mother walking towards the coach. I go, oh, no, now she's trying to ask me, oh, my son, is he going to play? Or is he going to get hurt? And I'm busy preparing all the answers for her. And she came up to me and said, by the way, tell me, how does rugby improve a player's life? Huh? Life? Rugby? But of course, coaches, we all have stock answers. Mental development, physical development. Very hollow, especially as I was wearing a T-shirt written, rugby is life. The rest is just details. I sort of went home and said, no, it's got to be better than this. We've got to be able to do better than this. So if I'm going to include life into my rugby coaching, then I need to understand life. I need to know what is life. And when you ask yourself that question, it really gets frightening now. Right, I've got to deal with life. Where do I learn about life? Of course, there are all these life coaching workshops, and I attended all of them, Walk on fire. You know that one, you walk on hot coals. Have you heard about letting go? That's where you sit and watch the coals get cold and then walk on them. Easy. Yeah? So I was on a trip here, learning all these things, and then I read a lot as well, You read books. There was one book I've never forgotten, Life, Universe, and Everything Else by Douglas Adams. Opened it, about 100 pages, read it, science fiction comedy, dismissed. Let's try some soft-core life books, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. They never talked about the guy who bought it. He's having a good life. Ferrari, man. More softcore, Steve Covey, 7 Habits of Success. That one, You've all read it, yeah. Have you done the hardcore one? 7 Principles of Buddha. 1 page, 7 sentences. That's your life. Yeah. No, I went the whole hog. And while I was in this reading thing, I read one book, I've forgotten the author, but it really touched me, and I've got to share this quote with you, because it went, we're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spirits having a human experience. Now that is deep. I said, I've got to get me some more of that. That's what I need to understand life. So I went and I was listening to, this guy give this talk, it's called Ramdas. Professor from Harvard who was kicked out in the 70s for too much LSD, I think it was, or something. But he then went on to India and came back as Ramdas. So he's giving a talk on life, and it's very interesting because it starts from birth. And he goes on about how when a baby first meets mother, it's not mother, it's source of food. That's all it is. And the baby's emotions, that's all the baby knows, it knows. And this slowly develops over time, and that relationship develops. Obviously, tit becomes mother, and it goes on, and then maybe parental unit gets thrown in there, and you build these relationships, but they're all based on emotions. It's all emotional relationships, and that's what creates our concept of reality. I say it's all these emotional relationships we have, and I'm going, wow, I've figured it out, Eureka, I've found it. Rugby is not life. Rugby is training for life. It's practice for life. For anybody who's ever played or watched a rugby game, you know rugby is a roller coaster, and it's an emotional roller coaster. Any emotion you want to experience in life, you can get it in 14 minutes of rugby. Pain, anguish, sorrow, joy, pleasure, all. Pop, 14 minutes, you've done life instantly. Yeah? So rugby, at this point now I'm really stuck because I'm coaching rugby and I'm saying, okay, I've been telling guys, life is rugby, guys. Now I've got to go and tell them, no, by the way, it's the other way around. We are training for life. And because we are training for life, how do I put this? And then I remembered what Ramdas said. He said, life is a spiritual journey. And the pathways we follow are our own emotions. So every time now I walk to the club and I looked at my players, I saw these bundles of emotions coming towards me. I think, my God, I've got to deal with this guy. My most aggressive player, obviously, now is Mr. Angry. He's got issues with the world, The guy I used to think was my fastest winger is actually probably just running because of fear. So I've got to try and put all this together and bring them together in a way that they will then perform as a team. As a coach, we talk about getting the players into the zone. Yeah. Nowadays, I hear there's a box as well that you can get people into if you want. Takweka kwa box. But that's another story. Getting people into the zone, getting the team into the zone. Yeah. And that is all emotional. And rugby players, us guys don't have emotions. That's a different thing. But I sat there as a coach and I looked at my players coming and I said, yep, bundles of emotions come to me. I'm going to sort you guys out. I'm going to find out what makes you tick and I'm going to tweak it. And we go through this exercise of trying to figure out how do you get a guy who's probably angry because his boss nagged him to put away that anger and then focus on the game, because that's all we're doing with these emotions. We try and separate the negative ones because they all take energy. They take so much energy, especially if you're nervous. All the energy is going because you're fidgety. And I need you to sit still, focus, energy, So we've really got to work. We start working on this, and we actually came up with a process where you take all your negative triggers, the thing that triggers the negative emotion. Did you know that? Something triggers it. It's just not there. And so we take this thing that triggers that negative emotion. And that Sunday, when we were playing in 97, we were sure we were going to win because we had sat the whole night. We had discussed as a team. We had, torn open our hearts and shared everything. And the angry guy had told us why he gets angry, and the nervous guy had told us why he gets nervous. And we all knew everybody's innermost secrets, and we locked them up in a little black box. And we leave it in the changing room. And we walk out. At that time, we are bound. We are bound, committed. We are in the zone, as coaches like to say. And at that time, you're unstoppable as a team. And that team walked out, and they played their hearts out. And you could see it. The passes were sticking. The tackles were solid. The tries were coming. Unstoppable. They flowed. And at the end of it all, as I looked across and I saw that team when they were collecting their trophies, I saw one thing. What we had managed to do. We had managed to put a team together that walked a path of the same emotion. An emotion so powerful that it will override all other emotions. This is the emotion that Paul talks about when he writes to the Corinthians and says, though I speak in tongues of man and of angels, but have no love, I am but a sounding brass or a clanging cymbal. Though I have prophetic powers and understanding of all knowledge and all mysteries, and have faith to move mountains, but have no love, I am nothing. How powerful is that emotion called love? And it is love that sends the players. How powerful is that emotion called love? And it's love that sends the players into that area where we call the zone. Yeah? And I know it sounds a bit lofty, but John Lennon talked about it way back when he said, love can change the world. All we need is love. Yes? Yeah, because science now proves, and this is where everybody, in Nairobi, if you don't throw in science, they won't believe you. Science now proves that if you take subjects and hook them up to an EEG, it's called, that measures the brain waves, and now they know what parts of the brain are responsible for what activities and what emotions, and you take these subjects and you put them in an environment where they feel loved. Yeah? The part of the brain that is responsible for motivation, memory, healing, yeah? All the things I need in my players, lights up like a Christmas tree. They go on hyperdrive. We need love. All we need is love. So now, whenever I'm at the club, I still get asked that question by mothers. They never stop. So, Ham, what is rugby going to do for my son? How is it going to improve his life? Now I can look confidently at the mother and say, have a sit with me. Life is a spiritual journey. And the pathways that we follow are our emotions. And rugby teaches us to walk the path of the strongest emotion of all, love. Thank you. Be loved.